Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to show you how to play Dungeon Petz. The goal of the game is to get the most reputation points. You do this by raising pets, exhibiting them at pet shows, and selling them to dungeon lords. There are 6 phases in each round: setup, shopping, needs, showing off, business, and aging. Each round, new customers and exhibitions will be revealed, the resources and items on the board will be replenished, and you'll get income. The main phase is the shopping phase. Each player will group their imps and gold into 6 or fewer groups, ordered by size, behind their player screen. Each group is composed of imps and/or gold and must have at least 1 imp, but doesn't have to have gold. The size of each group is the number of imps plus the number of gold coins. If you don't want to assign all your imps in gold, you can keep the leftovers in your treasury and imp quarters. The total number of imps and gold you have is public knowledge. Everyone reveals their groups simultaneously. Whoever has the biggest group goes first and uses that group. If multiple people have the same sized groups, then the players take turn in clockwise order, starting with the player with the starting player token. If you have multiple groups with the same size, you only use 1 group at a time. Then groups of the next biggest size go, and so on. For example, if I have the starting player token with these groups and red has these groups, then I will use this 4 group first, then red's 4 group will go, and then my other 4 group will go. Then groups of 3 will go, my 3 group, then red's 3 group, and so on. When you're using a group, you can either send the group to an unoccupied space on the board or choose to leave it at home, putting the imps and gold back in your imp quarters and treasury. When you send your group, you put your sent gold in the bank, leave your imps on the space, and immediately perform the action of that space. No other groups will be able to use that specific space. Everyone will get their imps back at the end of the round. This is where you buy pets. In order to go here, you need to have at least 1 gold coin in your group, since pets cost money. You can go in the upper pet area with the size 3 pets or the lower pet area with the size 2 pets and choose one of the pets from the corresponding area. You'll put your pets in cages in the next phase. This is where you get cages for pets. To go here, you need at least 2 imps in your group in order to carry the cage home. You choose one of the cages available and you'll place it in your pet board in the next phase. Each cage has stats on it. These are add-ons. You choose one of the 2 add-ons when you go here, and you'll place it on a space in your pet board in the next phase. Add-ons improve the stats of the cage it is attached to. Pets also need food. This is the food stand. When you go here, you take all the food at the corresponding space and put it in the appropriate food storage space on your player board. Green food is vegetables and red food is meat. When you go to the artifact tent, you get both artifacts and place them in your player board. The artifacts have powers that last until the end of the game. At the start of the game, 4 of your imps are on the progress board. These are distant relatives, and in order to get them, you need to go to the immigration form space. When you go here, you take from the board all your colored imps from the spaces of the current round and earlier. For example, if I go here on round 3, I will get these 3 imps, but not the last one. Place the imps on the action space. You won't get them until the end of the round. When you go to the hospital, you get a potion card, which is a wild needs card, and you take any imps that are at the hospital and add them to the space, so you'll get them back at the end of the round. This space lets you help judge and rig the exhibition. When you go here, move your minion finger on the exhibition space up to the 2 space. You can go here to get an extra bonus to sell pets. When you place imps here, you will not get them back at the end of the round unless you've used them. Instead, they will move to the right side of the platform and stay there until they're used. When you sell a pet, if you have an imp on the platform, you can remove that imp, place it in the sold pet's cage, and get the platform bonus of 3 times instead of the normal 2 times the score of the pet. After everyone has used all their imp groups, move on to phase 3. For this phase, everyone can go simultaneously, but if you think it matters, you can go in player order for each step, starting with the player with the first player token and going clockwise. In phase 3, you arrange the cages and pets, draw needs cards, and assign need cards to the pets. You'll need to place any new cages you acquired this round. You can place a cage on an empty plot or replace an existing cage, discarding the old one. Once you place a cage, you cannot move it. Same rules apply for add-ons. The add-ons apply to the cage right next to it. After you place your cages, you need to assign all your pets to cages. Your pets don't have to stay in the same cage, but any mutations and suffering moves with the pets. Poop stays in the cage. Each pet needs to be in its own cage. You cannot have multiple pets in a cage. If you have more pets than cages or just want to let some of your pets go, you remove those pets from the games, and it counts as losing a pet. When you're done assigning cages and pets, draw 1 need card per each revealed colored bar on your pets. The needs cards need to match the colors shown. For example, if I have these pets, I'll draw a red, yellow, and 2 purple and add the cards to my hand. When a deck runs out, shuffle the discard pile and make a new deck. After you draw the needs cards, you will need to assign need cards to your pets. For each color bar in your pets, you will need to assign that pet 1 need card of that color. The cards represent the pet's needs that you'll need to meet in the next phase: hunger, poop, anger, magic, play, and disease. These need cards will also apply to scoring for the showing off and business phases. When you assign the needs, place them in a column face down. In the basic variant, you play the cards so the single symbol is at the top. In the full variant, you choose which symbols to use. If there are 2 symbols on a card and you play those on top, you will need to fulfill both needs, but you will also score both needs in the later phases. You can replace any color with a potion card, which gives the pet a free need. If you use a potion card, you need to discard 1 card of the color that the potion card replaced. You'll need to satisfy the pet's needs or else they'll get sad and suffer. For each need symbol that you have, you need to satisfy it or pay the penalty. These are the possible needs. If you have this, you need to feed your pet. For each hunger need, you must feed your pet one food that it can eat. Some pets can only eat vegetables, and some can only eat meat, and some can eat both. This symbol on a cage satisfies one vegetable hunger need, and this symbol satisfies a meat hunger need. For each hunger need you cannot satisfy, your pet gets one suffering token. For each poop need, your pet poops a cube, so add one cube to the cage. If the cage has this symbol, add one less cube. For each play need, you need to have an imp assigned to play with your pet. Any imps that haven't been sent to the market can be used for this. One imp can play with two pets in adjacent cages. You put the imp between the cages to show that it's being used, and it will satisfy one play need for each pet. One imp cannot play twice with the same pet. A cage with a symbol satisfies one play need. For each play need you cannot satisfy, your pet gets one suffering token. Anger and magic can be satisfied by your cages. For each of these, count up your total anger or magic needs. If the total is less than or equal to the number of the cage plus add-ons, the red number for anger and the purple for magic, then the need is satisfied. For anger, if the anger is greater, it will try to escape. You can use one unused imp for each anger need that exceeds the cage value. Those imps will go to the hospital. If you don't use imps, then the pet escapes and you lose it. For magic, you cannot use imps. If the magic is greater than the cage, you place a mutation token on the pet. Once a pet has 2 mutation tokens, you lose it. This is a disease need. If your pet has at least one of these, then you must count up all the disease needs plus the number of poop tokens in the cage. Poop needs are evaluated before disease needs, so they will add to the number of poop tokens. If you have a disease need and the total number of poop tokens plus disease needs is greater than 2, then your pet will get 1 suffering token for getting sick, plus 1 suffering token for each point that was greater than 2. For example, if I have 3 poop here and 1 disease need, that adds up to 4, so I get 1 suffering token for getting sick, plus 4 minus 2, or 2 more suffering tokens. If I have a bunch of poop tokens and no disease needs, the pet will not get sick. If your pet ever has suffering tokens greater than or equal to its size, then you will lose it. Each round except the first has an exhibition. To score an exhibition, you either choose one pet to score or score all your board depending on this symbol on the exhibition tile. This is a single pet exhibition and you choose one pet, and this is a full display exhibition where you score all your pets in cages, including empty ones. The symbols here show what you get positive points for, and here shows what you get negative points for. For example, if this were my board, I'd score 2 times 2 points for play minus 1 for the poop cube for a total of 3 exhibition points. After the exhibition, you get reputation points based on your placement in the exhibition. If you didn't get more than 0 points, you score nothing. Everyone else gets points based on the ordering. First place gets the points indicated here, second place here, and so on. If players are tied, they each receive the reputation amount for that place reduced by 1 for each other player tied. For example, if red, blue, and yellow are all tied for first, they will each get 8 minus 2, or 6 reputation points. Green is 4th place and will get 2. Remember, the judging action lets you move up 2 spaces here. For full display exhibition, you don't need to have pets to get reputation, but for a single pet exhibition, you must have a pet in order to gain reputation. Even if you got points from judging, if you don't have a pet, you won't get any reputation points. If there are customers in the round, you may sell a pet to each customer. The first 2 rounds don't have any customers, and the final round has 2 customers. Each customer buys 1 pet from each player if the customer likes the pet and the player wants to sell. To sell a pet, it must be size 4 or higher. To see if the customer likes the pet, it is similar to scoring an exhibition. You get positive points for the light box and negative points for the dark box. The symbols refer to the needs you assign to your pets this round, or the suffering or mutation tokens that are on the pet. If your pet score for the customer is greater than 0, you can sell that pet to the customer. For example, for this customer and this pet, I'd get 2 times 2 points for the play, plus 1 point for the food, minus 1 for the suffering token, for a total of 4 points, and I could sell the pet. When you sell to a customer, you get reputation points equal to 2 times your pet score for the customer. If you sell from the platform using an imp you had there, you get 3 times the score. You also get the amount of gold shown on the pet and remove the pet from the game. If the pet has a mutation token, you get 2 gold less than the price shown, which means you may have to pay to sell the pet. For example, with the pet I sold to the customer, since it had 4 points, I'd get 8 reputation points, or 12 if I used the platform. Then I'd get 2 gold for selling it. If it had a mutation token, I wouldn't get any gold, but I'd still be able to sell it. In the last round, there are 2 customers and you can sell 2 pets, but only one of them can be sold from the platform, even if you have 2 imps there. When the showing off and business phases are done, you discard all the needs cards to the corresponding color discard piles. If you have any leftover unused imps, you can use each imp to either clean a cage or get 1 gold coin. To clean cages, an imp can remove up to 2 poop tokens from cages without pets. They don't have to be from the same cage, but the cages must be empty of pets, and you cannot move pets at this time. Any imp that wasn't used at all this round earns you 1 gold coin. At the end of each round, pets will age, your food will start spoiling, and your imps will return home. The starting player token goes clockwise, and the progress marker moves to the next place. If you ever lose a pet, either from not putting it in a cage, when it has suffering equal to its size, when its anger needs are not met, or when it has 2 mutation tokens, you remove the pet from the game. Return any suffering and mutation tokens it had to the bank, and discard all its need cards. Poop stays. Also, you lose 1 reputation point for every 10 points you have rounded down. For example, if I had 29 points and lost a pet, I would lose 2 reputation points. At the end of the final round, there is final scoring. This is done with 2 exhibitions that are scored separately. There is no +2 judge bonus for these exhibitions. Also, if your exhibition score is negative, you lose reputation points equal to your exhibition score. Otherwise, the exhibitions are scored normally, with the players getting reputation points based on their place. The player with the most reputation points wins. If players are tied, they share the victory. And that's how you play Dungeon Petz. Check out the link for setup, customers, exhibitions, and artifact explanations. Check out our website for more videos, podcasts, and blogs. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz!